Can you believe, and I mean this sincerely, that I would like to give 10 years of my life to be able to sit here in front of this painting for a fortnight with just a crust of stale bread to eat? Do you know who said this? Vincent van Gogh in 1885, when he visited the recently opened Rijksmuseum and was mesmerized by the Jewish bride, painted by Rembrandt in 1665. So we're looking at something that Van Gogh also saw. In fact, many painters have seen the picture, but Van Gogh is worth a particular mention because of what he said about it. What strikes you in this, one of Rembrandt's absolute masterpieces, is his genius, the way he handles paint. Just look at the man's sleeve. If you stand right up close, you can see the clods of paint that have been applied with a palette knife, almost like scales. And when you then stand back 2 or 3 steps and you look, you see it's a sleeve of gold brocade. It works, and you can see the patterns in it. And he's mastered the skill to perfection. Look at the woman's hand. You need to go and stand right up close again. Her top hand, with the ring on the little finger. Look at the thumb. And can you see how by the nail of the thumb there's a small black line at the top? Now, why did he do that? I think because it accentuates the fact that the thumb is not resting on the man's hand, which makes it clear to the viewer that this is actually a gesture, a movement. The 2 hands are quite separate. Now look at the other hand, lower down across her lap. The reflection of the red from her dress. What incredible skill. The rings and those jewels on her sleeve, and the suggestion of the man's hand around her shoulders. If you look close up, you see a thumb and the index. And those 2 other fingers are just stripes, nothing more. And then when you stand back again, you see it's a loving embrace. I've always thought that this is a merchant, a Jewish merchant called Daniel de Barrios, depicted together with his wife Abigail. And that's because I once played the role of this man in a television play. And everyone always used to say at the time that this was the Jewish bride and her husband. And I think so too. But particularly because this man, Daniel de Barrios, was a member of the Chamber of Rhetoric, a society devoted to the creation of performance, poetry, music and plays. Well, now Rembrandt was also a member of this society, and he no doubt often went there to sketch. And if you look at the background, you can see, well, it looks like a set for a play. I mean, look at the plant, whatever it is, and that's not real. And I think that Rembrandt was far too skilled to have that plant looking so flat. Well, having said that, you know that this painting was once larger than it's now. At the top there, that section at the top was removed because there was a window with a man leaning out of it, and which could mean that this was the biblical story of Isaac and Rebekah. And here's something else that's special about this painting. It has to do with the man's hat. It's slightly see-through. And as you can see, he's wearing a reddish cappel, a skull cap underneath. So you could say that it's a cappel because it was the Jewish Daniel de Barrios. Now, when the painting was restored in 1993, it appeared that the hat, which we all know so well from this picture, was painted after 1930 sometime by someone completely different. And of course the restorer said, okay, let's remove the hat because it wasn't in the original painting. But then there was a committee of eminent wise people who decided that, because we're all so used to seeing that the hat should be put back, albeit in water-based paint, so that it could be removed at a later stage. So they decided to put back that hat in, because otherwise we would think there was something wrong with the painting. Well, anyway, it is a real feat of artistic skill though. Perhaps even the pinnacle of his genius.